Whichever NFL team drafts Donovan Ezeiruaku tonight, they're going to get an outstanding pass rusher that's going to help their defense.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black. I'm the editor of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network. I'm an insider at Boston College. I've been doing this show for over 5 years. If you want excellent BC coverage, you're in the right spot. On today's show, we're going to talk about that offensive line. Do they have enough to be competitive this year? After the spring, let's break it down. Additionally, the tight ends. There's some good talent, but are they deep enough? And how will the top two look? And finally, we're going to kick this off with some NFL draft coverage because the NFL draft is tonight for many NFL teams. Hope springs eternal. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get up to $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bets with FanDuel. Now, the big name for tonight, what everyone is watching for, is edge rusher Donovan Ezeiruaku. Now, he has done nothing less than kill this whole NFL draft process. From the Senior Bowl to the Combine to team meetings, he has flown up draft boards to the point where we've seen him go from fringe first rounder to middle of the first round. I just saw a mock draft that had him in with the Chargers, I think at like 15. So this is one of those stories that you just love. Ezeiruaku comes in unheralded. He's a 3-star recruit that no one really knows much about. Jeff Hafley recruits him. Second year, he gets 8.5 sacks. He's second in the ACC in sacks. You're saying to yourself, wow, BC has something here. Last year, 2023, he has 2.5 sacks as BC's pass rush completely disappears. He gets a new coach. He gets a new scheme. Ezeiruaku leads the country in sacks his senior season with 16.5, gets All-American, the Hendricks Award, first team All-ACC. You know, he gets all the accolades. And then he goes out and he performs in all these drills and does everything at the Senior Bowl. And people start to watch the film. And this is where Donovan Ezeiruaku starts to really separate himself from other players. Not only is he good, but he brings a toolbox of moves that are unparalleled to any other edge rusher in the country. You know, whether it's speed or power, he has it all. And his intelligence, the way that he's a cerebral NFL college football player that can get to the second level and get to those quarterbacks so quickly is what makes him so dangerous. So yeah, you hear about James Pierce of Tennessee and the Georgia kids and, you know, the guy from Marshall. But if I was an NFL team, yes, he may be a tad bit more undersized, but he has all of he has enough physical attributes to be really good. And what's between his ears is what makes him special. Now, he is going to – I really do think Donovan Ezeiruaku will not escape the first round. There's the one thing against him is that there are a ton of edge rushers. So there's going to be some choices for these teams. And, you know, maybe there's other fits that people like, you know, based off scheme. I mean, I look at Green Bay, for instance. And Mitch Wolf of Eagle Insider, who's on the show sometimes, he'll disagree with me on this one. But when Jeff Hafley sees him on the board, if he gets down to the, you know, wherever the Green Bay's pick is, I can't imagine Hafley's going to let that go. That's why when I hear, you know, I was talking to another writer and he said, yeah, he should be a second round draft pick. I'm like, I don't think so. I think Ezeiruaku is going to hear his name tonight on Thursday. I do. I mean, as a Patriots person, I would have loved to see him go to the Patriots, but they're at 4. Unless the Patriots trade back and gobble up some picks that could get them in that range, even then, I don't think they would go for him because, you know, defensive end might not be what they're looking for now that they brought Harold Landry in. But, man, think if you're a Pats fan, edges of Donovan Ezeiruaku and Harold Landry, you'd be pretty happy, I bet, right? Well, now it's his turn, and it's his chance to really go out there and again, silence the doubters because you hear the players all say, "Oh, everyone doubted me." You see Shador Sanders say, "Everyone doubted you." Yep, everyone doubted you as you're the starting quarterback for Colorado. Everyone doubted you when you were the number one quarterback out of Jackson State and all this stuff. Yeah, no, you're not. You're not. You're not. No one doubted you. Donovan did. His offer list was tiny. He didn't get much respect out of high school. Now he gets to go to the NFL, and maybe there's folks that are doubting him because of his size. Or, he played for Boston College. You hear that all the time. Get that guy from Boston College. Look, Donovan Ezeiruaku is an exemplar. He's an exemplar of what Boston College could be. But when he gets to that next level, he's standing on his own. And when he stands on his own, he's going to be excellent. I think that he is, going to be one of the best defensive rookies that we see next year. He is as NFL ready as it gets. He's got the age, he's got the brain to do it. So, if you're a GM, don't overthink things here. Don't let don't let him slip by you, because you're going to miss out on someone who could be really good. And I think there's teams that I've seen linked that are very consistent. And we've said it on the show, and Mitchell Wolf is on here with me earlier. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a perfect team and a perfect scheme for him to fit in. So there's a team like that. I saw the Chargers. You've seen the Falcons. I think the Falcons was the earliest I saw him falling, which I think Falcons fans would like, because Matt Ryan did pretty okay for them, and a lot of these NFL teams, fans, they either like or don't like your school based off of the recruits that they've gotten out of it. So the Falcons could be a team. And then there's the Packers and the Eagles. Those are all teams I've seen in mock drafts where Donovan Ezeiruaku could land. Think about Donovan Ezeiruaku on that Philadelphia defense, man. Like Philadelphia, I know they lost their defensive tackle to New England, and there's been some changes up front, but that defense is talented, and their coaching is really, really good. That would be an amazing spot for him to land. It's still first round, and that would get his jersey up in the Fish Field House. As someone who stands there and watches a lot of practices, to see another new name up there would be pretty cool, because they're going to have to get a poster of him soon for being consensus All-American. That's another story. But I am very excited, because this will be, we didn't have a first-round draft pick last year. It was Christian Mahogany and Elijah Jones. Mahogany went 6th round. Jones went 3rd. This will be your first round again this year. Then your first rounder since Zay. So we'll have to wait. And I said this already. I'm recording this the week before, guys, so there's not going to be a reaction episode on Friday. I'm sorry. I get back that weekend on Sunday. Mitch and I will record for Monday our reaction to where every Eagle lands and how they fit. I promise you, okay? But I'll be out there watching at a tiki bar, hoping that Donovan Ezeiruaku goes in that first round tonight. In our second segment, we're going to go back to checking out the end of spring practice. I want to look at the tight ends. Not really look at that. Sounds horrible, but I want to look at the tight end position and talk about why they could be sneaky deep by the end of the summer. I'll explain what I mean in just a moment. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I'm looking at Quentin Post right now. It's his first NBA playoffs. He gets a chance to really show up. Now, he has a playing game. I'm looking for big games out of him in that first round if he can get out of that. Can he get 10-plus points? I'm going to be looking at those player props, because I know they're on FanDuel and they're so easy to find. Plus, after the game tips off, you can combine that bet with live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. Thank you all for listening, and I want to thank you all who have listened to every show this week. If you have become an everydayer, if you listen to our show every day, you're getting your recruiting news. You're getting news and analysis you're not going to find everywhere else. I want to thank you all who have made this part of your daily routine. And if you're done with this show and you've listened to them all, go check out Locked Out at ACC with Kenton Gibbs and Alex Dono. Now, we're wrapping up spring practice coverage. It just ended a couple weeks ago. I got a chance to watch a lot of practice. And again, before I talk about this next subject, got to remind you, I can't get into who's the first and second team groups. They've forbid that from the media. So I'm going to talk about players and who stood out, but I can't tell you this guy's going to be a first teamer. This guy's going to be a second teamer. It's just been part of the rules. You have to work around it, and that's okay. So the tight ends. At the end of the regular season, Kamari Morales went off to the NFL. He ran out. He was a nice transfer addition. Get credit to Jeff Hafley again, who did a nice job of bringing him in and putting him next to Jeremiah Franklin to make a nice tandem of tight ends that combined, the two of them combined for 0 drops all year. They were one of the most efficient tight end groups in the country. Now, Morales is gone. Franklin is in his 4th year. And let me say this. Jeremiah Franklin does not get enough credit. He has really grown from when Jeff Hafley brought him in as a true freshman, and he's learning on the fly, and there were some growing pains there, as many freshmen have. To sophomore year, he's getting a little better, still some things. Last year, very good. Could he be one of the better tight ends in the ACC? This is his 4th year of really playing. I could see a big season from Jeremiah Franklin. He's reliable with his hands. He's a good blocker. He does a lot of good things for you. So I saw him a lot during camp, and it's just consistency. That's what he is. He's consistent. He does what he needs to do, and that's what's going to make him a valuable weapon, whether it's Dylan Lonergan or Grayson James throwing him the ball, and with those running backs going. Because remember, you all talk about what a tight end can do passing in the passing attack, but they need to do the running. They got to do blocking too. A tight end that can't block, that's a bit of an issue. Now, additionally, Ty Lockwood. I was really impressed with what they got from Ty Lockwood this spring. There were times where he's quiet, but I think really what you want to do is replicate or get close to replicating the tight end system that you had last year, where you had 2, you moved them all around. You had guys, Morales sometimes, or I think it was Morales, working almost like a fullback at times. You need to be able to do that again. And I think you have that with Ty Lockwood and Jeremiah Franklin. There's other guys out there that could do it too. I just thought Ty Lockwood, coming in from Alabama, this is a former 4-star recruit that they got to transfer over because Bill O'Brien knew him and had a relationship with him, and he fit in like a glove. He's Dylan Lonergan's roommate from Alabama. It didn't take long for him to really kind of establish himself. And you bring in tight ends sometimes, and you hold your breath because he didn't really play at Alabama. So when Mitch was doing his game reviews and film reviews on these transfers coming in, there was nothing on Ty Lockwood other than going back to high school, which is kind of useless. You couldn't really see what he did. So I got to see him live, and I want to tell you, he's got a lot of potential. I think BC found something here, and with the way that the staff develops, especially that you got Will Lawing working with the tight ends, I feel like he's going to be something that can really give you that added passing attack option. So this was a great transfer get for Bill O'Brien. I go back to the 2 Alabama transfers. No surprise, the blue blood schools, 2 former 4-stars. To me, they look like the most ready to make a gigantic impact on this offense. you have those 2, and then you have the Campbell wide receiver, VJ Wilkins. Those 3, I think, are going to be your biggest transfer impacts this year. Now, additionally on this team, there was some really intriguing tight ends that I'm really interested to see how they develop. Kalen Chudzinski, I want to bring him up first, is a true freshman, son of Rob Chudzinski, comes over from St. Sebastian's in Massachusetts, and I'll tell you one play I saw. I'm gonna run it back in the shakes because you didn't get to go to the scrimmage unless you guys are part of the Gridiron Club and got to go. I'm talking and watching the game, and watching the scrimmage. They throw a small short pass. It was I think maybe like a slant pattern or something like that. Chudzinski catches it. He's got a tight end, a cornerback or safety on him. He still reaches up and gets it, and then proceeds to torch that running back by running 60 yards to the house. Good speed on this kid. Now, the downside is he's listed on the website at like 215 pounds. He's small. And so I go back to you need tight ends that can still block, and as much as you don't want to. Remember, Gronk was a good blocker. So even Bill O'Brien mentioned this during a press conference this year already, saying that, yeah, he's going to have to hit the weight room this summer. Will that change his game? We'll have to wait till the summer to see. But I thought he was a really intriguing player that I just didn't expect a lot out of. And he kind of already silenced me. So Kalen Chazinski's one you want to watch for. And then you have you had Brady Clough, who we talked about on the show, a preferred walk-on, and we don't know what's going to happen with the preferred walk-on program if this 105 recruits player thing happens, how they're going to do this. But I saw some good plays out of him. He's not as quick or big as some of the other guys, but he's solid. And I think the tight ends that they've brought in through preferred walk-ons have all been kind of solid. Him and Danny Edgehill. Danny Edgehill, I didn't see much of this preseason. And the final name is one to mention too, and Zeke Moore. Zeke Moore is that transfer from FAU who came in, and I thought fullback, but he could definitely play that role. He can play fullback, the H-back kind of role. And he's quicker than I expected. And I saw him used in the passing game more than I envisioned him to, because I think he's got like 5 or 6 career receptions or something like that. It's like something really small. But he impressed me. Like, he's not the biggest guy. He's definitely not the size of a Jeremiah Franklin or Trey Berry. Remember him? But he's still solid. He's built big. See him being kind of like that Korab Drizzy. Do you remember him? A bigger blocking tight end, and who could still play in the passing game. So you have those 4. The real ones. You got Clough as well. I think that you have some good talent here on tight end. Will it be enough? Well, thankfully, right now it's kind of an incomplete story, because you have all that, and then you're bringing in 3 freshmen. You're bringing in Bryce Lewis, son of Tim Lewis, the defensive coordinator. You're bringing in DJ Johnson from Holy Cross in Louisiana, freshman, not Holy Cross the college. And you're bringing in Stevie Amar from California. They're all coming midsummer. Now, I don't expect – I feel like tight end, other than Jeremiah Franklin, is not a position you really want to throw a true freshman out there right away. It's a complex position with a lot of different things that they need to do. Basically, you're playing the role as a receiver and a offensive lineman. So they might need some time to get them going. And you have enough talent around that you don't have to. But when you're looking at depth, I think that really kind of solidifies that. You have that, and then you have guys, like I said, Chazinski, and then maybe even like a Ryan Boltwood, who we don't see a ton out of, could also be another name that to fill out that role. Now, in a moment, I want to talk about the offensive line. There's been a lot made out of whether this group is ready, if there's enough there. I'll explain my thoughts on how they looked and my thoughts heading into next year in just a moment. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire Stick TV 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Unlimited with EA Plus included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles for EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made easy. It's all on your Fire TV. With 4K streaming, watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus Max, and more. Now, I'm a big gamer. I love my EA Sports. Now, I did not know I could do it on my Fire TV. I'm going to be doing that soon. I cannot wait to try it out. And you need to check it out, because if you're a big gamer, this is an easy way to do it. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, second generation Fire TV Stick 4K Max, first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube third generation. Wrapping up here with things Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider. And I want to also tell you about another show for your second listen after today's show. Check out Locked On College Basketball with Isaac Shade. It's a great podcast. Talks about the current world of college basketball. Check that out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, one position that is always a hot topic with BC fans is that offensive line. I think we all are traumatized from the 2022 group that had probably one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen for BC. It was just horrendous. And you're just dying to make sure that that does not happen again. And I get that. You do not want to watch another season of 2022, and I don't either. So when Jack Conley and Drew Kendall and Ozzie Turpillo all graduate, you're left wondering, how good will this offensive line be? You know, you have questions about the guys filling in. You've seen, you know, a Kevin Klein or, you know, a Dwayne Alec out there, even Eric Dougherty, and you're saying to yourself, are they going to be enough? Well, after camp, I have watched enough to say that I think this offensive line will be serviceable. And what I mean by that is I think they're going to be able to get this offense going, but I also think there may be times where they struggle. But when you had guys like Zion Johnson or Ozzie out there and you're playing good defenses, they could hold their own at times. And sometimes it was able to prevent, you know, defenses from locking down and destroying your team. I could see games like Notre Dame, Clemson, something like that, where you're playing a top-notch defense being a real challenge for this team. But when you're playing a team like Syracuse, a team like UConn, they should be fine. And there's enough teams on the schedule, even teams like SMU. I think there's enough talent on this offensive line to do it. Now, I'm not sure what their ceiling will be. I think Jude Bowery has a very high ceiling as long as he can stay healthy. He's probably one of the most talented offensive linemen I've seen on this team this year. But, you know, it's going to be up to the room for improvement for guys like Logan Taylor, who had kind of an off year last year. Dwayne Alec, who's now all of a sudden going from your 6 or 7 offensive lineman to a potential, you know, he could be a guy that we see start this year. Eric Dougherty, who we didn't see at all. Like, how are these guys going to take that next step? And so you either have to put yourself in two camps here. Either you trust that Matt Applebaum can develop these guys to a level that they can play at the ACC level, or you're going to be that type of person, and I don't want to call you a Chicken Little, but I will, that just thinks the sky's going to fall because for some reason Matt Applebaum's inability to recruit at times is impacting his on-field coaching. I've seen a lot of this. And as I said, I'm not expecting this group to be all ACC. I just don't think that's going to happen. But I do think they will be good enough to win you football games. So they're going to be able to run the ball. You have a good enough running back, I think, in Jordan McDonald and Turbo Richards to get things going. Your passing attack is good, and hopefully they don't get killed. And I think that this offensive line will hold its own. I think there's enough there. Next year after that will be what we see. We'll have to wait to see. Now, on top of all this, there's one name for this offensive line. I'm really interested to see how he fits into this whole picture, and that's Tommy Matheson, who has not been there yet. Tommy Matheson is a guard/center that they landed in the transfer portal, who went to Princeton, who hasn't graduated yet. He's graduating in the next month. He's joining the team this summer. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. If he comes out there, and he's been around, he's an older player, could he go in and either take a guard spot or become the center? That's something I'm really interested to see where he falls. Or is he just going to be a depth guy? Could be any. Now, on tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about the draft moving forward. Now, again, I'm sorry. I can't give you my reaction on where Donovan Ezeiruaku goes. I will give you that on Monday. This is not live. I love you guys. I'm doing this on, I could have taken the week off, but I didn't want to. I wanted to keep talking BC. So we'll talk about what this weekend could look like for all the other draft picks and a whole lot more. We'll talk about the defense and how their spring went. We have a lot to talk about here on Locked On BC, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black, 247, AJ Black 247 on Twitter. You can follow me over on Eagle Insider for all your BC news. And I hope to see you again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.